Yes,
I'm
sir.
calling the special committee meeting to order. I declare that there is a quorum of committee members present and note that the media has been given proper notice pursuant to the Freedom of Information Act. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Do we have a motion? How about a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of this motion, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. It's approved. I think it's 3-0. Not sure about this committee. I think Kathy's on this one. Has she made it on yet? But anyway, the only agenda item is the discussion of the timeline and community meeting, the naming of the new elementary school. So this one's actually, I think, the Michael one. So the Jedburgh Elementary School area, and I think we all coordinated a March 31st, 6 p.m. meeting date for the community at Cane Bay High School. And the district's currently working on a space. And I'll just tell you what I had envisioned. This would be for both of them. But we kind of meet in a smaller space. There's going to be no action items taken, so we won't have to have a formal meeting, but we can just meet in the library or cafeteria, somewhere like that. Have the project boards for each school. Then we have a list under it or a little sheet. People can say what they want or what they propose the school name to be, and then we will be there, the committee members, to just talk to the community when they come. So March 31st, 6 p.m., Cane Bay High School. But anybody have anything else they want to add to that?
So Joe, I have a question, and this is Cindy, by the way. Kathy's on, she's on her phone, she can hear us, but we can't hear her. So she just wants you to know she is present. So the people have an opportunity, you said, to like write the name.
Welcome to Zoom. Enter your meeting ID followed by pound.
I can hear you.
Not
Keep going.
entered any numbers. Please
I think that might be Kathy trying to phone in from the road. So you said people will write down, their ideas. When do we review those written
enter your
papers?
participant ID followed by pound. Otherwise, just press pound.
Are we able to mute individuals?
Kathy says
Please
that's
enter the
her.
meeting password followed by pound.
So I think it might be me every time I try to talk.
You have not entered any numbers. Please re-enter the meeting.
Cindy, do you want to message me your questions and I can ask them to the group, or or dial back in, or put them in the chat?
So, and I think I heard your question, Cindy. I think the intent of the March 31st meeting is just to hear from the community. When they sign that sheet, or they can do it in iPad. I'm sure there's a better way of doing it. But we can review those comments on a later date, and then we're going to make a recommendation. Our individual committees for each school will make that recommendation to the board at a regular scheduled board meeting.
Oh, okay, so that's not me. That's actually Cindy. She's saying, when do we review those comments written? So we collect them at the community meeting. We're going to make a recommendation for the board to present, but what's the in between?
So I think we would want to review those between the March 31st and April 7th board meeting. That's when Dr. Dixon proposed that we have those, that recommendation completed.
Okay.
So that gives us a week.
Does that meeting where the review takes place to make the recommendation also have to be in this type of forum? I assume, yes.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
When we review the comments to make the recommendation, does that have to take place in a formal setting such as this?
I don't believe so. Don't
Okay.
quote me on any of that. So
I won't. I'm
I
just
did,
curious.
yeah, I did talk to Brandon about it. And again, as y'all could tell, I'm not up to speed on all the rules. So thank you, Cindy, for correcting me about the initial. I was trying to meet, our committee just talk about it. And then he said, this is a procedure. We have the meeting today. Then we want to have a community meeting. And then based on whatever results we get from that community meeting, bring that back to the board and then break out an individual committees like we do for the capital or the finance stuff. And then that committee would make a recommendation to the full board. And then we'd have a second reading from the full board.
Thank you for explaining that to me.
Yep. Anything anybody else wants to add? All right, what's the pleasure of the committee?
Can you hear me, Mr. Baker?
I can barely hear you, Miss Bradley.
Just to make sure, this meeting is just to set the time and place for the full meeting with the public, right? Just want to, okay. And
Correct.
we make recommendations from that point. Anyone can come. It's a public hearing. Anybody's invited.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
Ms. Lacy will publish all that information so it goes out.
Yes, ma'am.
Do
Yeah,
we
and I'm
wanna
sure they
schedule
have
a
some.
meeting? Do we want to schedule a meeting between the 31st and the 7th?
I'll follow up with y'all about that.
Okay,
But I think if we meet, it has to be public.
yeah.
So
I was thinking in the same format we're in right now.
So I'll follow up on that one if we'll need to set another meeting. So I don't want to answer you wrong, Kathy.
Okay,
So is everybody good with the March 31st, 6 p.m. Cane Bay High School?
yes.
It's good.
Aye.
And then Lacey asked if I could get a roll call. So this one, on this committee, I think this is myself, Cindy, I see you for Jedburgh Elementary School area. And then I think Miss Bradley and isn't Michael on this committee as well?
Are they two
For
separate
Jedburgh?
committees?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then I'll keep my mouth closed until you call me. Thank you.
Yep. And then on the next one, I think it's myself, Cindy, Angelina, and Kathy.
Correct. Yes, sir.
You
All
can
right.
hear me now, I take it.
Yep, we got you. So good. I'll since this is just discussion, make a motion that we set that meeting date for March 31st, 6 p.m. at Cane Bay High School. Then the space to be determined. We have a second.
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor of this motion, respond by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Then all opposed, nay. I'm assuming motion's approved 4-0. This time I'll entertain a motion to adjourn this committee meeting to hold the special committee meeting for the new middle school in Nexton area. Do we have a second?
Second.
So I made the motion. We have a second. Any discussion? All in favor of this motion, respond by saying aye.
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 All opposed, nay. The motion's approved by a vote 4-0. I will immediately start the next one. I'm calling the special committee meeting to order. This is for the Nexton Middle School area school. I declare there's a quorum of committee members present, and note that the media has been given proper notice pursuant to the Freedom of Information Act. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
Oh, so moved.
All right, second. So we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of this motion, respond by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion's approved. I think it's 4-0. So on this one, it's myself, Cindy, Angelina, and Kathy. So again, the only item for discussion is a timeline of the community meeting for the naming of the new middle school. So this one's going to be, I think we just hold them together. Is anybody opposed to that for the elementary and middle? So we tried to pick Cane Bay High School to be kind of right in the middle of the two, so we could have just one community meeting for both schools, and then we kind of put them on both sides of the room.
I am agreeable to that.
All right, so I'll make a motion to have the community meeting March 31st, 6 p.m., the same time at Cane Bay High School, and space to be determined later. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of this motion, respond by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion's approved, 4-0. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Joe,
Ma'am?
just want to make sure, do we want to have it at the exact same time? Or do we want to give it like 15, 30 minutes difference just for, how do you have two meetings at the exact same time?
Well, since there's going to be no action taken, it's really just going to be a community meeting.
Okay.
So I just figure we would all kind of stand up front or mingle amongst the crowd, and then we'd have two spots. You know, one side we have Jedburgh area, and then next area on the other side, and where people can sign what their proposed name is, and then we can just chat with the community while we're there.
Okay. All right. That sounds good.
So, okay. All right. This time I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. I'll make that motion. Do we have a second?
Second?
All right, a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of this motion, respond by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The motion's approved. Vote 4-0.